Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here today to talk about how I keep my herbs organized, because I had this question. Well, before I start, let me say I can always do far better, and it's a constant, I'm always changing things up, just like everything else, especially as I get more and more herbs, either ones that I grow on my own to put up, or I just stock up on more of the things I cannot grow, the more I learn about different herbs. So starting off with my own homegrown herbs, I do try to store them with like herbs using boxes such as canning jar boxes like this, or the fruit boxes like you'll see in this image right here. This is in my pantry. And so I have my different homegrown herbs organized according to what they are in those different boxes, at least somewhat. Now this one is definitely all for skin cream. I grabbed this box because it's the easiest one for me to get to. The reason it's the easiest one for me to get to is because it's the one I need to have ready to go whenever I need to make a new batch of the infused oil for my homemade skin cream that I do sell, because that's one has always been one of my most popular handcrafted items that I have sold. So what I have here is I have all this in a box that I keep in a separate cabinet I bought last year that I just love, that I can keep in the hallway, so I can just pull the whole box out, start adding the herbs to my jar, and then pour oil over it, and then just put it back in there. So it makes it really easy, so I'm not having to go find this, that, and the other thing here, there, and everywhere by having those all in there like that. Well, then on my counter, a lot of times you'll see in my kitchen videos that I have a shelf that Patrick made for me, and that is more specific to herbs that I use in various teas. But unfortunately, I don't have enough space, and there's not enough room for me to put all of them there. So a lot of the spices, like the whole cloves and more, I have a separate cabinet where all of my spices and herbs are for like culinary stuff. So some of my tea herbs are in there because they go both ways. And then some of them go into my overflow cabinet in the hallway that I keep these same things in. So I got that cabinet just because I used to have jars stacked there with these herbs plus others, and it was just all stacked up. And the babies were getting into them and throwing them on the ground. And so I'm like, I need something safer. But I like that there because it's just right around the corner from my kitchen, and I can just grab whatever I need because I can't keep everything stored in my kitchen cabinets. Then I also have some miscellaneous herbs that, like more culinary herbs that I'm putting up from the garden, and a few other things that go in, have their own special shelf. So like the ones in the boxes on top are more of these kind of things. Like I have several jars of dandelion flowers, marshmallow leaves, and the like. And those are a couple of things I like to use in my skin cream or even in my healing salve. But then I have a separate shelf that just is a bunch of miscellaneous herbs, but mostly culinary herbs such as rosemary, sage, thyme, and more. That's mostly how I take care. I sort out again, I could do better. I could rearrange things again and make it a little more organized than it is, but at least I have a rough idea where to find what I need. And then of course, you know, making sure they're dated and always grabbing the jars that have the oldest date on it when I need to pull down a new jar, like for here. So currently these are the jars of herbs I'm working through, and when one of these is empty, like, well, the plantain one isn't empty, but I know I have a jar like the rose petals and this lavender that's starting to get a little empty. When they get empty, I simply take one of these jars out of my other boxes back in the pantry and put that in there to replace the jar that's here. So then I have a separate type of system for the herbs and spices that I purchase. This could definitely use an overhaul. It started years ago. One of the first things I did, this was shortly after I started my channel, was I got myself some of those plastic shoe boxes that are more like drawers that you can stack. And I have a picture here of showing what they look like just on my kitchen counter, but currently they're stacked straight up into a tall tower in my pantry. And so what I do when I order herbs and spices that are typically in Mylar, then I will store them in those drawers and label the front of them. Then it wasn't long before I had those drawers all packed full. So just like with my shelf of miscellaneous homegrown herbs in jars, I have a shelf of miscellaneous herbs and spices that are still in the Mylar that they came in, and it's dedicated mostly just to that. So my biggest issue though is just remembering what all I have back there, especially in that one with the herbs and spices that I purchased in the Mylar. Sometimes I forget that I have a bunch of stuff in there, and I need to go look through that pile of herbs, because it's harder to stack and sort Mylar bags, harder than it is with jars, but you can typically fit a lot more in there like that. But somebody asked me if I like journal or keep a ledger of this kind of stuff, and I do highly recommend doing that. I don't. I keep saying one of these days I'm going to do that, but I just have never got around to it, and I could see that just not really working really well for me anyway. As long as I have a rough idea where the different types of herbs are in my pantry, in my kitchen, and so on, and keeping them at least somewhat organized by type, that makes it a lot easier for me to know where to find those. And if it was store-bought or if it was homegrown, I'll know which of those two main places to look. Is it in the plastic drawers or that's one shelf? Or if it's this, then it's going to be that other shelf or those boxes or in this pantry out here. So, I have this rough idea, but ledgering would be a good idea. That might be better for a lot of people than just doing what I do, because there are, like I said, things that do get forgotten, and there's always a way you can better what you do. So I just wanted to share that with you since I was asked this question, and hopefully that gives people at least a couple of ideas that may or may not work for you. And also, another reason why I put videos like this out, even though I don't feel like I always have all the best answers, is that there's always plenty of people out there that have great ideas that will share in the comments below the video. So you could learn probably a lot more in those comments than you can from the video alone. So please share your own suggestions, ideas, experience in the comments down below with the rest of us. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.